Good evening, ladies. I hope you're doing well. This is our normally scheduled Thursday class. So tonight, you should be seeing this on March the 5th. Hopefully that I get it all uploaded correctly. Alrighty. So the first card in your envelope should have a bunch of things that are blues and grays. And remember, our theme tonight is masculine birthday. All right. So in your first card, you are going to have the airplane. You're going to have a little sentiment that says, "You're not old, you're a classic." You're going to have 3 silver dots. You're going to have a circle that has polka dots, a cute little hexagon piece. You will have an embossed piece. This was run through the embossing machine, and then with an embossing folder, and then I used a little bit of toffee ink over on that side, and then we have the gray as well. So let's begin. We're going to fold our card base, and you might want to just use your bone folder to give it a little crispy edge. We're going to put the dark gray side facing up. Oh, I'm sorry, it is the light gray side facing up. So I'm going to put my adhesive on the dark gray. This was charcoal. Okay, so I'm going to center this inside the front of the card so that I have that nice white border going all the way around. Now we're going to put the embossed piece, and you will want to be a little more generous with this piece because it is embossed and you need it to really stick, and sometimes that embossing does not stick right away. Okay, next we're going to take the hexagon piece, and that is going to lay to the right of the inked side. Okay, and again, I'm going to be a little more generous only because now it's going to be sitting on top of embossing. And for this, I'm going to center it so that it's between the top and the bottom are equal, but it's a little bit on the right-hand side, and then I have more over here on the left. I hope that makes sense. Next, we're going to take our polka dot piece, and we're going to put that on. And again, be generous because it is laying on top of our embossing. So now you're going to cover up a little bit of that embossing, and it's okay. So I'm going to overlap right about there. And you might want to go a little higher, a little lower, completely up to you. I'm going to put my sentiment, and I am going to use foam for this. Let's snip a little bit off right there. Okay. And I'm going to allow it to overlap both the polka dot and the hexagon piece, like so. And then my airplane is also going to get some foam. We need a little piece. And then all we have left to do is add our silver dots. They're the metallic dots from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they're still around though. I'm going to allow my airplane to sort of overlap the signage. Okay. I'm going to put the large above the sign in between the plane and the sign, and it's going on the hexagon piece. Now I'm going to put the small one, and I'm going to go below, so on the left hand side, the little banner. Okay. And that is our first card. So I put one here, and then I put the other two, the small ones right there. It's such a nice card. All right, let's get ready to do our next one. For our next one, it is going to have another embossed. This is that plaster embossing folder. And I've already put your dot on one of your clocks. And I'm going to set those aside. You're going to have a time to celebrate with another piece. And this one's journey. So I'm going to use a little bit of journey in this card. Then you have a strip. You have another beautiful chevron. And then we have the plaster. All right. So this card is going to go this direction. Let's see. We'll put it there. There we go. So I'm going to put my embossed piece down first. And remember, always be a little more generous because that embossing does have a little bit of bulk to it. And it needs a little something to make it stay. Now when I did emboss this for you, what I did was I actually spritzed my cardstock just a little. I didn't make it sopping wet. It was just a light spritz. Then I ran it through with the embossing folder just so that the paper didn't crack. That is an excellent tip for you, so that you don't crack any of your cardstock, because sometimes cardstock will crack with the pressure of the embossing folder. All right, we are going to put our, let's see, how far over is that? That is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put my chevron piece at 1/2 inch from the left hand side, and this will run the full height of the card, so it will go on top of that white up at the top and down at the bottom. And then remember, you put a lot of adhesive so that it'll stick. Now we're going to put the journey piece. This really was a beautiful color. And that is going to be put at 1 inch from the left hand side, right? Let's just double check. Yeah, like an 1 inch, 1 1/16, 1 1/8, something like that. So let's see, here is my 1, and I'm going to go just a teeny tiny bit over. So basically it's going to cover up one of the rows of the chevron, just so you know. Now let's build the time to celebrate. Once you have put the white piece onto the journey rectangle, we will put some foam tape or foam adhesive on the back of this. the Time to Celebrate and the 3 clocks, I did ink distress them so that they weren't so white. I wanted them to be more soft and subtle for the embossed piece. Next, we're going to put our clocks. So you're just, what I would do, and actually my sample, I outlined mine with Journey ink. Let me show you how to do that in case you have Journey ink and you're like, oh, I really like that. You could do that. So what you would do is you're going to roll the circle through the ink so that you are getting it all inked up, but we're not going off of that edge. So it's going to be just like a fine line. So if you have Journey ink, it was a color of the year. It was the last color of the year from Close to My Heart. So you're just going to roll it into the ink pad. Now, the announcement has come out from Stampin' Up that starting in May with the new in colors for 26 through 28, the 5 new in colors, they will be in the new ink pad style, which I know many of you are going to be in love with because it is these magnetic ones. They actually purchased the patent from Close to My Heart for these ink pads. So all the ink pads that will be coming, so this year's in colors for 2026 through 2028 will be this magnetic style, and then come next year in 2027 they're going to do a whole overall of all the ink colors, and they'll all be then into the magnetic, just so you know. So next we're going to take our clocks, 2 of which will be flat, 1 that will overlap will actually be with some foam. So I'm going to do my flat ones first. And I certainly hope when I go to upload, everything uploads correctly for you. I'm hoping and a praying. Now, I do know for Sunday's Sunday Fun Day, that one will be a pre-recording, and I do know it has already uploaded to YouTube, but it's scheduled to be posted on Sunday. So if by some slim chance that I didn't do the uploading correctly, then you will have to go over to the YouTube channel to watch it. But let's hope I have it all uploaded and scheduled correctly. It's not showing me because I started with that video. It was much easier to do that versus this video. Okay, just make sure that you are putting your clocks on correctly. You want 12 o'clock at the top. I'm going to allow them to overlap, and I am going to bring the one that has the stone down just a bit so it will look like that. And that is our second card. And it just says birthday wishes on the inside. Kept it real simple. Okay, let's mosey on to our next card. Now, there is a sort of a theme with all of our cards for tonight. They all have a bit of embossing, the embossing folders in each design. So this one is many, many layers, and you will have a gem, so to speak, a hexagon, right? 1, 2, yeah, hexagon. There's 6 sides. So I'm just going to set mine aside so that I don't lose it. You're going to have a cute little buffalo or bison or whatever he is. And then you have a bunch of parts. So you will have a white square, a green square, and a black square. You will have a pattern paper and a black square. You will have a pattern paper and a black rectangle. And then you will have a embossed and black piece. Okay, so those are all of our parts. Let's fold our card base. And we're going to begin with the largest black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And we're going to put that on first. And I'm going to center this inside on the top of the white so that we have that white border. I always love that white border. And when you are making your own cards, this 4 by 5 1/4, you should be able to get 6 out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper. Just a little fun fact for you. Next, we're going to put our embossed piece. We're going to put that on next and just center that right into that black piece. Now I'm going to slide my card aside for a second so that I can put the next part together. Now, if you prefer the plaid, by all means, use the plaid. You know what? I think I am going to use the plaid this time. I think I'm getting close. Oh, no, I'm not getting close to the end. All right, I'm going to center this inside the black. Okay, that looks pretty good. And this one is going to go all the way from the top to the bottom, not just inside the green. And remember, it's going on to embossed piece, so you really want to be a little more generous with your adhesive. And it is going to be, let's see, 1, 2, 2, it's going to be a 1/2 inch in. So here's my 1/2 inch. Looking at it top to bottom. Oh, I like it with that plaid. That looks cute. Okay, now we're going to do the next layer. So we're going to put the pattern paper on top of the black. Now, if you prefer the wood grain, go right ahead. I mean, that looks equally nice. You know what? This one I think I'll do with the wood grain. Let's make it a little bit different. So I'm going to use my wood grain facing up. And now I'm going to put all of this onto the card. So sorry, I still have a lot of drainage from being sick a couple weeks ago. All right, so we're going to place this so that it hovers over the white rectangle, but I also want to make sure I have still a little bit of my wood grain showing on the right hand side. Okay, so I'm going to be about right there. And I'm just going to press those down. Next, we're going to build all 3 of these pieces together. And I'm going to start with that white. Now remember, sometimes there's those little fuzzies. And I'm just going to center that into my green. And now I'm going to center all of it into the black square. And this, we're not going to put foam on it yet. Oof, it's sticking to me. There we go. And I'm going to go more towards the lower end of center. You know what? This one I think I am going to go more center because with The one background paper, I really wanted to see more of that. This is more of a wood grain, so I'm thinking I'm okay and I would like it more centered. So I'm going to put that centered. Now with the buffalo or the bison or whatever it is, I'm going to put a foam, and I just need a teeny little bit more for his backside. Peel the backing off. And I'm going to put it right here inside that bottom part of the white. All right. Now I'm going to get a glue dot. Let's see. Yep, there's one right there. And I'm going to put it on the back of the hexagon. And I'm going to place the hexagon off of the happy. And there is our third card. I mean, they're the same exact card, but they have just a little bit of a different feel. Okay, now let's get ready to do our last card. Now this last card, this one was super duper fun. I don't know if you can tell. Let's see if you can. Those gears, oh, there we go. Those gears have been done with metallic paints. So what I did was I did a large piece of paper. I did like a gray tone, real light gray. Think of like mink, because mink was super light. And I just took different inks that are sprays, and I just sprayed them all over the piece of paper. I let it dry, and once it was dry, then I ran it through my die cuts with my die cuts. This is from that Gears and Texture dies, and each person's is going to be slightly different because it just depended on where the paper was in the process. So you should have a large die, a large gear, I should say, a medium gear, an open gear, and then a small gear. You're going to have a small rectangle that says happy birthday, followed by a piece of cinnamon and then a piece of craft, and those will layer together. You're going to have another piece that has been run through an embossing folder, and then I just did a little bit of smushing of ink here, and that is with oxide inks, distressed oxide inks, just to give it that grungy feel. And then we have another piece of cinnamon and then another piece of craft. So let's close, and I distressed the inside for you. So now we're going to close the card and we can begin our building. Let's begin with the craft piece first. Okay, next we're going to put the cinnamon piece. Now cinnamon was a close to my heart color, and the way you're going to remember if it was a close to my heart color or a Stampin' Up color is close to my hearts usually were one worded, like cinnamon, where Stampin' Up is 2 words, like secret C or petal pink. So that's the easy way. So when you're like, okay, what color did she use? And I said cinnamon, then you know, oh, okay, go to my close to my heart colors to look for it. I'm going to put my brick piece here. And you're just going to, everything layers right into each other. Let's get this little piece built. Then that way we know right where we're going to be placing it. And I'm going to layer that on top of my cinnamon. And now all of it's going to go on top of the piece of craft. And this we will be putting some foam on the back of. Now I'm just going to set it. I'm not going to peel that backing off quite yet because I want to first make sure I have my gears right where I want them. Okay, we need liquid glue is next. And I am going to start with the large one. I mean, you can even see on the back side that it was definitely paint. Since this is the first one, I'm going to go towards the right and upper. Now you might have a little bit of glitter on your fingers once we're done, and that's just an occupational hazard for this card. Yep, I have a little bit there, and it's okay. It will come off with the water. All right, next we're going to put this gear here. That's why I wanted to wait to see, and I want to make sure I'm nestling it inside a gear. So it'll go like that, and then this is an open one, and that should then sort of feed off of that. Okay, and then we'd be putting this one down here. So I'm going to do that next closed or full gear. And since it's on embossed paper, I really want to hold it just for a few extra seconds to make sure it's all adhering. Now I'm going to do that open one. Okay, let's fit it so that the gears look like they're inside the gears, or the channels of the gears, I think is what it's called. And then we would put our happy birthday there. Yep, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to actually adhere my happy birthday down next, and then do that last gear after. Like so. Now this time I shifted mine more to the right. The sample is more centered. Totally up to you how you want to get that done. The tiny one, I'm going to let it slide a little underneath my sentiment. And there is our fourth card. Nice and masculine. Now our next class in April will be female birthday, so make sure that you are registered and prepaid. And then May's class will be a thinking of you. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed your class this evening, and I will see you very soon on the next video. Good night.